Hey, guess what, dude?
What's up?
Global Trans is a full-service third-party logistics provider bringing award-winning customer service, exceptional industry expertise, and market-leading technology to shippers, carriers, and logistics service providers.
That's exactly right. You know what else? Global Trans' people-powered approach combined with comprehensive relationship-driven support provides shippers of all sizes with fast and reliable multimodal transportation services as well as strategic supply chain solutions, enabling them to optimize efficiency and deliver on business goals, leveraging its extensive independent agent network.
Hey, Global Trans has emerged as a fast-growing market leader with a customer base of over 1 million product users and 25,000 shippers. To learn more, please visit globaltrans.com and follow Global Trans on LinkedIn. While you're there, send us a connection too.
That's right.
Timothy Dooner,
say hi
Michael
to Bob Farrell.
Now you know what I'm really excited about? So this guest here, I was looking on his LinkedIn profile to get some backstory on him, and he's holding a giant guitar over his shoulder. So I reached out to one of the event producers, and I'm like, you have to ask him to bring his guitar on air. It's Frank Kenny, Director of Market Strategy at Cleo, and you saw him in the green room. He's got a beautiful bass guitar with him. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure, Dooner. Michael, great to see you sitting down and not standing by the sonar board. So, it's lovely to see this view of you, friend. So.
Frank, you are the only other person I've met in this business who also went to school for music technology. I did at CalArts and you did over at Tampa.
I did, and now I am working for a technology company, so that's how it did.
I'm looking at your LinkedIn profile. Are you going to hit people with that guitar or hit them with music?
Yeah, it's looking like a honky-tonk man a little bit.
Exactly. Trust me, it's never more than 16 bars that I put on a loop. So there you go.
Hey, so you mentioned technology, dealing with the cloud, those kind of things. What has the impact of this year been on carriers and truckers from your view of the world, from the cloud side view?
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing is reluctantly carriers and transport companies have always been reluctant to move anything anywhere but some back room somewhere. And so no one ever thought that we would be in a world where people couldn't come into work. No one thought that we would be in this world where people couldn't answer the phones from a trunk system. And so we've seen just a big push of folks that are coming up and saying, we just got to get in the cloud. And it's not just the pandemic and COVID. Think about all the ransomware attacks in our industry. And then all of a sudden, folks are saying, we just can't afford to be down. So the idea of moving this critical part of infrastructure in the cloud is something that's appealing. Now, we haven't seen the type of traction that I believe we're going to see in 2021. But the type A, the bleeding edge companies, the larger companies have absolutely moved there, have cemented themselves there, because now the companies that we at Cleo are hearing from are just all sizes and everything from mom and pop with maybe 20 pieces of assets out there to 2,000, 3,000 pieces. So it's really astounding.
Frank, autonomous vehicles, AV, is going to be the solution, right? And shortages of drivers. And we see this year the great outpouring of respect for the drivers that have always been those heroes carrying us through and the economy through. Talk about the growing importance of the trucker in the entire supply chain.
The trucker is where it ends and where it begins. And we tend to not give enough love to those guys. I recently took a trip up to Bryson City, North Carolina, and all along the road, traveling on a Sunday night, it's just nothing but truckers. And it's nothing but truckers delivering what needs to be delivered. So, the awesome thing is that we're always going to have a need for truckers, because truckers are always going to know the routes, the in and outs, what processes are in place, and what are the things that need to be done. The same way that I don't care how autonomous airplanes get, there's always going to be pilots that are sitting in the seat, because you always need somebody there to be able to handle the complex myriad of problems that can happen. So truckers are incredibly important, continue to be incredibly important, and it is an evolution, a revolution for truckers. With a lot of the devices that they have to be tied on, sometimes it's getting up and launching an app early in the morning because you need the speeds and feeds coming from that app to tell your brokerage, where you've been and where you're going and when you're going to get there. So when we think about the cloud and we think about all of these processes that folks like Cleo are automating, it all comes down to, that trucker hitting that button that says I'm here, or that trucker hitting that button that says I'm unloaded. It just comes down to that.
On Road Dog Trucking, I talk to drivers all the time, and you ask a lot of them, well, what's the story of your life? And they're like, well, it's driving, waiting, and frustration. And a lot of times it's that lack of visibility or the siloed visibility and the siloed information. Your customer might know where the shipment in, but the guy actually has to bring it to you or pick it up may not. How important is ecosystem enablement of bringing drivers into that visibility sphere and sharing with dock workers, et cetera?
And as Michael always talks about, just the growing rejection rate, and it's just not coming down. So capacity is always going to be an issue. And the companies that are able to make it are the companies that can find the slivers of capacity to work loads in there. And if they can find that sliver, that's the difference between having a phenomenal year and just having a good year. And so it's going to be the truckers that are going to really create that visibility. So take an instance where you have the opportunity for a trucker to drop off and he may be able to pick up across the street. And that load may not have existed at the point that he backed in. But when he backs out, now you start to just shave hours and days off and you just increase productivity. It's really that last mile.
So, Frank, we talk a lot about tech in this industry and our different virtual events, and there's certainly a lot of leaders and people adopting that, but there's still that hesitancy out there from people in the logistics space to adopt that tech and move to the cloud. Can you talk about that a little?
Yeah, in an industry like all industries, that how you do business with your customers dictates your differentiation. What's the difference between this trucking company and this trucking company? Well, it's how you do business. It's what type of experience are you giving your customer ultimately. And so the experience around, in many cases, the experience around getting information, giving information, and making that a superior experience is something that was very difficult to produce. So it's a lot easier if I just hire more people and I have them on the phone. Now we're certainly in a world where people want the updates more often, more frequent, and they want those updates pushed to them. And so we're now balancing getting people integrated, getting systems integrated, but at the same time tying that back to an amazing customer experience for the end user, because that's the differentiation. That's how they're going to make their money.
Now, Frank, we are almost out of time, but we noticed you had that bass guitar. And if you don't know this about What the Truck, we have a segment called Play It Forward where people play their instruments for us. So we definitely have to have you come on in January, play us a number, and go a little deeper on Cleo. We hope you accept our invitation.
Absolutely. I'll accept the invitation. I've got my little Casio from 1982 that I can start playing the numbers for you guys, my Cleo Casio. So, guys, a pleasure. It's been just a great summit that you guys have had here. And I look forward to more of the podcast. And certainly, Michael, we'll see you in a couple of days in the little square box on my screen.
You know it, brother.
Really
Peace,
appreciate it. Thanks again for joining us. Michael, I feel like if they sold a Dooner t-shirt and a Dude t-shirt, he would be buying the Dude t-shirt.
I'm a Frank fan. He's a bass player, man.
He is a bass player. Drew McElroy's co-founder and chairman at Transfix. He is in the green room right now, and he's going to be with us right here after these messages.